What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Football Chatbox Game Week Review Part 1, actually. Game Week Review of Game Week 9. Usually, I do these videos as a whole and record it on a Monday. But this week, it's not going to be possible. So I was initially thinking I record one now and then record the next one later and then put them together and upload them as one video. But then I've decided, might as well just record this now as one take of like what has happened so far. And then I'll do Part 2 tomorrow, hopefully, and get that out for you guys as well. And I wanted to see, maybe let's see how the engagement happens for like these videos. If it's in a two-part, let's see whether we get better engagement or not. So if you are new, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and make sure to comment down below how the games have gone for you and how are you doing in FPL so far. Having said all of that, let's get straight into the video. Alright, so I've got only 2 points so far because I've only had one player play so far, and that's only Joe Pedro, who we'll talk about later. But let's get Joe Rodon. Let's talk about Joe Rodon first, and obviously the first game, Leeds versus West Ham. Now, Leeds at home played really well and managed to generate 1.49 XG against West Ham's 0.65 XG, I should mention. Joe Rodon, like we said earlier, with another goal, sitting on my bench this time. So I am hoping that Gabriel actually doesn't play, so I can have Joe Rodon come on. But we'll have to wait and see whether that happens or not. Okafor and Aronson as well. With attacking returns, they've been getting some attacking returns, I should say, in the last couple of weeks. Like Okafor, 4 points this week, 8 points the week before against Spurs, where he didn't play the Burnley game. Then he said 8 points against Wolves as well. Aronson as well, a few attacking returns here and there. So they have been getting a few ones. So if you have Leeds players, and especially if they're playing at home, maybe give them a bit of consideration, because at home I do think Leeds are a better team than away from home. Meanwhile, as actually, before I go to West Ham, from Leeds, it's usually the defenders that I would prefer more than the attackers, just because it's hard to figure out which attacker is actually going to get you the points. Whereas the defenders are a bit more reliable in terms of DEFCON. Rodon again with DEFCON this time. Ampadu with DEFCON as well. Jadon Bogle very close to DEFCON as well, to be honest. So defenders I prefer more than the attackers, just because trying to figure out the attacker is not that easy. Now, West Ham. I've said this before in terms of West Ham as well, where they can be playing as badly as possible, but Jared Bowen will find a way to somehow get some points. Even if West Ham are not looking great, he just happens to find a way sometimes to get points, and he did it once again. Now, overall though, it's not looking great for West Ham. They didn't look good in this game as well. And if they don't find some form soon, it's going to be looking pretty bad for relegation. They're going to be in a very tough relegation battle, and I don't think the teams here that are stuck in relegation battle right now are all pretty decent. Like the promoted teams this time I think are better, and you're going to be competing with teams who've not been relegated in some time. So West Ham need to find some form soon, because their run of good fixtures are about to end as well, in terms of like that block of good fixtures, and they've lost both of the opening 2 set of good fixtures they had as well. So it's not looking good for West Ham at the moment. We will move to another promoted team causing problems, Sunderland. I've said this before, they will cause problems for teams this season. I've mentioned it quite often, and again they did it this time as well. They managed, I think, 1.3 something XG. So Sunderland managed 1.31 XG to Chelsea's 0.9. Joe Pedro, I said it earlier in this video, another game, 0 shots. Time to get the boot. I'm not giving him any more games, guys. He's getting sold this week. Without a doubt, he is getting sold. I don't care what happens. He's been sold immediately. You guys can wait to give him more games. I am not waiting anymore. He is getting the boot. Chelsea's next couple of games, they've got Spurs, Wolves, Burnley. I mean, he's been having... Now, this is the 8th game with 0 shots on target. 8th game with 0 shots on target. I haven't even counted the amount of games where he's had 0 shots incomplete, like as a whole. There was one situation where he was flagged offside, but even in that situation, I thought he would have taken a shot, but instead he decided to cut it across instead of actually taking the shot himself, even if he was flagged offside. And it's actually time to sell, get rid, to be honest. Achampong, on the other hand, he did start in this game, but got hooked in the 76th minute for Tosin. I don't really know if he can be like a nice gem as a 3.9 option or not. It does come with a level of risk because of the options that Chelsea have. Like they have Chalaba, Tosin, who I would assume would be more regular starters in their backline. So if you're going for Achampong, it does come with a certain level of risk. Meanwhile, LEEvWHU started for Chelsea this time, but got hooked. He didn't really do much as well, to be honest. So he got hooked as well. Sunderland, on the other hand, similar to Leeds, I kind of prefer Sunderland's defenders over their attackers, mainly due to the fact that it's a bit more reliable in terms of picking their defenders. Like, you know what you're kind of going to get. Whereas from Sunderland's attackers, trying to pick the exact Sunderland attacker is a bit more tough. Like, Isidore scored this one, but we've had instances previously where MUNvBHA has come on and MUNvBHA has got the goal. So trying to pick like the correct attacker for reliable points is a bit more harder. But we'll speak about 2 other games later in this video where picking some strikers from there is a bit more reliable than from Sunderland and Leeds attackers at the moment. Let's move over to Newcastle versus Fulham. This game, I thought the final third play from both sides was a bit clumsy at times and could have been better. Meanwhile, I do think Fulham, they need to improve because they're creating their own problems at times, and one of those instances led to Murphy getting the opening goal where Bassey just messed it up and didn't like clear his lines. The bright spark from Fulham, personally for me, I thought it came from Kevin, who got subbed on. He did create a few chances in the final third, which I thought players should have done better to commit. Especially, I think there was one instance where he made a cross that went past everyone, and Traore, I thought, should have done better to try and get to the end of that, where if he did, he could have had a shot on target, but he didn't. That's kind of where I think Fulham are not committing in the final third. They're not committing enough, I felt like they're not going for attacks, which is why they're currently struggling as well a bit. So we'll see. They need to improve. Their fixtures are about to get better as well for Fulham in the next couple. Like their Wolves, Everton, Sunderland. I mean, Wolves might be the easiest out of those slot. So let's see if they can kind of improve. But again, which Fulham player can you reliably go for? Especially now that Anderson is injured, trying to pick a reliable Fulham player also is probably not there. Like, I can't really tell you which one to go for, to be honest. So again, another team probably, even with the good fixtures, you might potentially avoid, unless Kevin gets a few good minutes. But he's 6 million. At 6 million, I want a player who's going to be playing more than 45 minutes, to be honest. From Newcastle, Walter Marders missed a great opportunity 6 yards out of the box. He had like this one shot from a set piece, yes, over here, that he hit the post, unfortunately. But apart from that, he didn't really have anything else in this game. Anthony Gordon, I thought, did create some decent opportunities for passes in terms of key passes. 2 key passes, he made a few good chances, but no luck in terms of points returns from this. So hopefully you're going to hope for some better returns in the next fixture, because they're playing West Ham next, and West Ham haven't really been looking that great this season so far. Newcastle, on the other hand, away from home, aren't necessarily great, but because of how West Ham are playing right now, you'd be hoping for some attacking returns from some of your Newcastle attackers, hopefully for next week. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, Walter Marders unlucky in this game. Meanwhile, Bryan Mbeumo, I told you guys, he's the best option from United. If you were to get someone, if you were to get him, and anyone who did go and get him, well done to all of you. I wish I could have gone there, but I don't have the funds to get there, and I still don't. So I think for me to be able to go there, I was looking like this week as well, how could I get there? It required like sacrifices from removing both Joe Pedro and Gyökeres, which at the time I wasn't too convinced of wanting to do just yet, especially Gyökeres. I think Gyökeres was more I didn't want to exactly remove. If he had a bad performance against Palace as well, then I might potentially rethink that situation. But MUNvBHA is the best United option for me, to be honest. If you wanted a player to get, he is the best option. I thought United played well until Casemiro came off. The moment he came off, the midfield, like the last game against Liverpool, kind of went into non-existence. And Brighton managed to get back into the game. Great free kick from Danny Welbeck, who is now getting a decent amount of form and getting some consistent returns. He is potentially a striker. If you're looking to get rid of Joe Pedro, he's potentially a striker who you could look to actually bring in, especially with Brighton being on top of the ticker in terms of fixtures, because they've got some pretty decent fixtures, to be honest, especially until game week 20, and he could become an option. The only issue I have with Danny Welbeck will happen when it comes to like these midweek fixtures where they've got like game week 13, 14. That's where I'm slightly a bit more worried about, like 13, 14, 15. This is where you have to be a bit more careful with Danny Welbeck. Like the Christmas break is not Christmas break. The Christmas fixtures is when they're too close together. His minutes will be slightly managed, but the way he's going in terms of form, not a bad player to have a look at. So yeah, now two away games next for United. So let's see how they do, and if they manage to get the 2 more wins for the lad who's been waiting for a haircut. I think he'll be the most happiest if they do manage to get the 2 more wins. But Bryan Mbeumo is someone I'm definitely looking to see how I can try and fit into my team. Before, keep in mind, he goes for AFCON. So he goes for AFCON like game week 16, I am assuming he's going to go for AFCON. So even if I manage to get him in by game week 11, I still think there's some really good fixtures that I can utilize him for, like get the most out in terms of points, because the fixtures are not too bad. So we'll see how he does. But yeah, I want to try and find a way to get him in. Maybe the Arsenal game will give me a bit more of an idea in terms of Gyökeres and how he looks. Let's move over to Brentford versus Liverpool. Another team good at long throws means another defeat for Liverpool. Arne Slot is probably going to be annoyed. He's going to be saying, oh, if only the ball was on the ground, we'll be winning some points, we'll be winning the games. The game might be 2-2 if we weren't playing long balls. Anyways, their defending has not been good this season at all, and it got exposed once again. The referee did his best to put as much added time as possible for Liverpool, even over the allocated added time, but no luck, unfortunately. Salah got his first open play goal since the start of this season, where he played Bournemouth and got one. So it's been a long time coming, but hey, even in this game, he didn't really look too good, to be honest, I should say. Liverpool as a whole generally don't look good in terms of XG. They did manage to get a goal in the 80 plus minute as usual, but in this game, Brentford out XG them 2.75 XG against 2.30 for Liverpool. So it's not looking good. I probably wouldn't approach any of the Liverpool players, to be honest. Even the fixtures are about to get pretty decent in like game week 12. I just can't tell you who to go for because none of them look good at the moment. Tango got the goal. Another cheap striker, similar to Danny Welbeck, who is having more reliable minutes than Danny Welbeck, and on penalties as well. Definitely a player. If you're looking for a cheap striker, I believe he is Thiago is the best cheap striker available in FPL right now. So if you want a cheap striker between him and Danny Welbeck, he's slightly more cheaper than Danny Welbeck at the moment, but Danny Welbeck has the better overall fixtures, I would say. Just that minutes, I think Thiago has the better minutes. So up to you in terms of if you wanted to pick one of the two. Those are some of your options. We could probably add Krupi Jr. to this if we knew how long Evan Nilsson was out for, to be honest. Because we don't know, it's why I prefer Dango and I prefer Thiago and Welbeck because of that. However, I do think they had a few chances, both Thiago and Dango, where honestly they could have had more than what they actually got because of the amount of chances. Like here you see a few missed chances from Dango and especially from Thiago as well. I do believe there were a few missed opportunities, like here that got saved by MUNvBHA, and the one that got missed here that I think went over the bar, as you can see. So hoping for more from them. Brentford, they played well, and I think they deserve their win in this game. So yeah, that's basically part 1. Part 2 will be out tomorrow. Let me know in the comments how you thought, whether you prefer the part 1, part 2 as a separate one. Let me know. Let's see how the views do as well. If you reach up to this point, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and I'll see you all for part 2 tomorrow.